Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish Gaming. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about esports, or actually we're going to talk about the death of esports. It's not looking too good, guys. Activision laid off pretty much everybody in their esports division, save for like 12 employees. And Activision, of course, has a lot of the games, the biggest games that are played, in esports. And it just seems like that whole scene is crumbling. And I'm going to talk about this because weirdly, people still think that the esports scene is like really viable. Like this is actually a viable career path for you. And I'm going to tell you that for most people, it's not going to be. We've seen a massive shift in, corporations, whether or not they're willing to sponsor teams or back teams. We've seen things like G4 TV implode in real time. They spent millions and millions of dollars to build a studio and an esports center, and it just crumbled. Twitch is laying people off. Activision's laying people off. And meanwhile, I'm getting pushback. I talked to some people in education circles, let's put it that way. And they're under the impression that they should be telling their kids to get into esports as a career. I'm not even joking. There are actually esports management degrees at colleges now. There's state funding. We're in Pennsylvania. There's state funding for high schools and colleges, and I think even middle school, to start esports teams, to train these kids to be professional esports video game players. And I just don't think that scene is going to happen. I think it's over. I think we had a moment. We had a couple of years where people thought that esports were going to blow up and be like the next NFL, and it just did not happen. Right. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more gaming news. We try to keep the gaming news on this channel under 10 minutes. And again, this news broke last week, but there have been some updates on it. Before we get into the Activision thing, though, I want to walk it back about a year and a half and talk about G4 TV. They tried bringing it back as, I guess they wanted to come back as like an esports hub. Like I think they thought they were going to be like the CNN or ESPN of esports, and it didn't happen. They actually fell flat on their face after spending millions and millions of dollars. And I think other companies are kind of looking at this like, is it really worth sinking money into it? And this was backed by Comcast. I think G4 was backed by Comcast, and they spent a ridiculous amount of money. They closed it down after a year. People just didn't want to watch it. And, now we have Activision laying off most of their staff in esports. I mean, they're laying off a bunch of people, but it's crazy. This is coming from GamesBeat. Microsoft lays off most Activision Blizzard esports staffers. Microsoft has laid off most of the internal Activision Blizzard esports organization, according to a source familiar with the matter. Again, this is coming from VentureBeat. The layoffs at the internal group are part of the 1,900 job cutback, that's what they're calling it, bloodbath, and jobs that Microsoft announced last week for Xbox, Bethesda, and Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard did not formally comment. Well, they have. We're going to talk about that. A source familiar with the matter said the esports business is not going away. I beg to differ. But the company is being thoughtful about how to evolve to better deliver for players and fans. The source said that with a continued commitment to competitive esports, the company has landed on a model that more closely aligns with our game franchises. And the source said Activision Blizzard is not stopping esports. Instead, it's adapting to a new business model to better serve the community. The people who are directly impacted have all played an important role in the success of our team and the success of Activision Blizzard. The source said the company is grateful for their contributions, and it will provide full support with severance, equity, bonus, healthcare, and job support. That is good. A lot of people losing their jobs, at least most of them. Most of the job cuts I've heard in gaming and in journalism, a lot of these people get severance. I got laid off like 12, 13 years ago, and I didn't get anything. Maybe I got 2 weeks. I think I got like 2 weeks severance. And they're like, yep, you're on your own, pal. Sorry. While esports has struggled as an industry, it's still surprising to see Microsoft cut it back so much. In particular, this will affect Call of Duty League and the Overwatch League. Yeah, it will. This comes in the wake of Blizzard's deal with ESL Faceit last week to partner on the Overwatch 2 esports league entitled the Overwatch Champions Series. So they're talking about how it's going to take place in 3 regions. Yeah, ESL Faceit Group will not manage the Asia circuit. They're going to do North America, EMEA, and Asia. They're not going to manage Asia, though. Instead, Korean esports tournament organizer WDG is handling Asia. Yeah, so this was last week. And then we had this update. This is coming from VP Esports. They say that there are only 12 employees left in the esports division of Activision Blizzard. All right. Remember when Nintendo tried to make esports a thing? Nintendo World Championship, all that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's not popular, but it is very niche. I think it's very niche. I think what's going on is my personal opinion, my armchair opinion. This is coming from a guy who plays a lot of video games. I love video games. I do. But it just feels like they wanted it to be the next NFL. They wanted it to be NBA. They wanted it to be, must-see TV. They wanted it to be an event, a big sports event on par with physical sports, and it's not happening. It's just not. I don't think it's gonna happen. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it's gonna happen, guys. I think if it was gonna happen, it would have happened by now. And a lot of companies spent a lot of money on esports, and they got burned. So they said. This article says, the promising future of competitive Overwatch esports has already been tarnished by yet another wave of layoffs, and this time it has also affected the professional staff of this discipline. Who is really freakishly good at Overwatch is Squid King. He is very, very good at Overwatch. He's been playing it since he was little, when it first came out. Rumors have it, due to the recent layoffs at Activision Blizzard, several veterans from the hosting and broadcasting team of the Overwatch League, OWL, have lost their jobs. In reality, the number of layoff employees may extend far beyond just the mentioned individuals. So there's only 12 people left. Among those layoffs were also commentator Mr. X Morello, and I don't watch Overwatch League, so I'm not sure. Is it Zoe Geshwin Rep? Two of the most recognizable faces of the Overwatch League. Obviously, I don't watch it. Squid King might be familiar with them, but they've been part of the league's broadcast since the inaugural season in 2018. I think Squid King started playing in 2016. Morello, who has been actively working behind the scenes to help plan the new OWCS storyline, announced just last week, expressing his hope to remain involved in some capacity. Yeah, and Rep, her name is Rep, Geshwin Rep, I guess. She may have been expecting the news, saying she was ready for that call with champagne in hand. There are 2 of the 60 individuals who were laid off. Yeah, it says only 12 people working in esports. And look, this isn't the first blow. This is coming from the Sports Business Journal. Again, we've got layoffs hitting all sectors of esports and gaming. They have Activision, they have Riot. They said they're going to refocus on core programs, but they don't know if esports is going to be part of it. Unity cut 25% of staff and company reset. Twitch laid off around 500 people. It's not looking good. And if you go out to Twitter, you go out to X, you have people talking about this is the Last Free Nation. I believe it's a podcast, esports podcast. They said they're going to discuss mass layoffs of Riot and Activision, layoffs' effect on the LEC, and the bleak future of the esports industry. So, yeah, everybody's saying that esports are basically dead. And I think what shocks me is that they're actually pushing, in education, they're pushing for esports as a career. I was like, what? I had a conversation with a person who was like, yeah, we're really ramping up our esports education at school. And you can actually get degrees in esports. And I'm like, that's the dumbest damn thing I've heard today. But there you go, guys. You can get yourself a worthless degree at a number of colleges. I don't know if every state has it or not, but I know Pennsylvania has several schools that offer degrees in esports management and production. And good luck with that. Good luck with that. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll talk later.